Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So the other day I was on my way home from picking up a Jeep Cherokee and my truck did that inevitable Ford Triton 2-valve noise. Step on the gas and it goes whoop pa 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 pa. What these trucks are notorious for is blowing spark plugs out the heads. Now, there is an easy fix for this that they have come up with to fix them from the top. There's a kit you can buy. I'll put a link down in the description down below, but that's what we're going to be working on today. A couple of things to note before you get started. You want to make sure that your vehicle is parked somewhere it can sit for 24 hours. I'm halfway in my garage here, but I'm going to be able to put it in neutral and let it roll backwards just a little bit. Another thing is you want to make sure you have a good thread locker or thread sealant. There's a Loctite compound that is specifically designed to withstand oil and gasoline and things like that, as well as high heat. But if you go to the Amazon link down below, there is another thread locking compound that you can order when you order this kit. There's a lot of videos out there on this process, but I know personally when I'm trying to learn something or I'm trying to do something based off of a YouTube video, I end up watching a lot of multiple sources to make sure that I get the best information possible. So hopefully you can take away something from this video. Hopefully you like it. If you do, slam that like button. So this here is the kit that I ordered on Amazon. I will put a link in the description down below. But in this kit, you've got your tap, your reamer, your guide, a clip here. You've got your hose here, and your inserts. So how this process works is you remove everything and get it all out of the way. This slides down towards your spark plug hole, and this here is your reamer. It slides down in. You can put a 1/2-inch socket on this and use a hand ratchet or electric ratchet. The instructions do say an air ratchet. It'll go a lot faster if you have an air ratchet. You want to apply some down pressure here and twist it, and it will chew away at those threads. Once that's done, you pull this back out. You slide your tap in from the underside just like this because it won't fit through, right? And then you got your clip. And this not only allows it to keep it from sliding out, it tells you when to stop. You want to tap it all the way up to that point. So same thing, stick it in there, go all the way down. You do want to use some oil or a tapping compound on both the reamer and the tap. Once that is complete, you pull all that out. You insert a spark plug into your insert, and you want to put some anti-seize on your spark plug. And then you want to put a nice coat of thread sealant locker on this insert. Jam it on in there, let it sit for 24 hours, and it is now part of the engine. And that's it. Simple enough, right? Oh, I forgot. This air hose. So how this air hose works is you insert this down into the hole, get it wedged in there really good. You want to hook up your shop air to this end and slowly open up your T-valve. Once that's done, you want to slowly rotate the engine. You can do that on the crankshaft bolt on the front by the harmonic balancer. It will create pressure in there and it will blow this out of the hole, and that's how you know that it's a sealed unit in there and you're not going to get any metal shavings in anywhere important. Let's get started. So I'm going to be working on my number 1 cylinder here today. So we need to make sure we remove everything out of our way so we have clear access to our spark plug hole. So our next step is to dig into our kit, and we're going to get this piece here. Now what you do with this piece here is you want to poke this into the hole, connect this end to shop air, turn on your valve, and then you want to slowly rotate the engine until this blows out. And then you know that all the valves are closed and you're not going to get any aluminum shards anywhere that it shouldn't be. That way you can blow them all out through the top. Okay, so now that we know that it's a sealed system and our aluminum chips aren't going to go anywhere, you want to make sure that your piston is far enough down that you're not going to come in contact with it while you're drilling and tapping for the new piece. So there's a couple of ways you can do that. You can go down there with a bore scope. Not everybody has one. Or you can go the simple method. Go ahead and put this in. Sorry, this is your guide. Go ahead and put your guide in. And then you want to find something that's pretty long. You can set it down in there. Something that's not going to break off in it, right? Set your finger about even with the top of that guide. And this is how far down our piston is. This is our drill bit. Check it out. We got plenty of room here. So what we're going to do next is go ahead and drill it. It's recommended to use an oil. An oil when drilling it, you use a drilling compound or WD-40. You don't want to use anything that's too sticky. Otherwise, you're going to have a hard time getting your pieces out of the cylinder when you've got to blow all that air out. You don't want to use anything too sticky or gummy like a grease, because when you go ahead and get all the way down in there, pull this out, you're going to lose aluminum pieces down in the cylinder. And you got to blow them out with air. If it's too sticky, it won't want to blow out with the air. So I recommend an oil. I am a big fan of Marvel Mystery Oil. I use it on everything. And that's what we're going to be using here. Now, we're going to use our drill to drill down in. And there's this little stopper right here. You want to go all the way down to that stopper. And that's when you know you're 100% through. The top is a 1/2-inch socket. It talks about using an air ratchet. We're going to use an electric ratchet to go ahead and do it. Let's start on drilling. You want to put slight downward pressure because you are drilling. You don't want to force it because it'll get things hot. And you don't want to do no pressure because then it won't drill. So you do want to do some slight downward pressure, but it's not actually a drill bit. It's more of a reamer. So it's just kind of opening up the hole that's already there. You'll know you'll get all the way through. You know you've gotten all the way through, it will actually drop right there at the last second. The next thing you want to do is wait for that jet to stop flying. One of the downsides to living near an airport, but also an upside because planes are cool. I get to watch them every day. So next, you're going to want to use a long air nozzle. This is one that I kind of fabbed up here. Pretty long. And this is another one here that I've made up out of plastic air tubing. But you want to make sure you go down in the hole and blow out all of your metal shavings. It is bad for the cylinder to have metal shavings. Go figure, right? We're going to pull out our collar here, and we're going to jam this down in and blow all them shavings out. So the next step is we're going to tap our threads. So you want to take your tap and your guide, slide the two together from the bottom up because the threads will not pass through the guide. And then they give you a retaining clip. You want to clip that towards the top just like so. Now you want to use some oil on this as well. You can use a cutting oil or a tap oil, specific tap oil, or you can use some Marvel. I do have a tapping compound I like to use when I do taps. So same thing here. It talks about using an air ratchet. I don't like the idea of using an air ratchet when tapping. I am going to use my electric ratchet a little bit if it will run it. I don't know that it'll put out enough, but you always want to start by hand. So that's what we're going to do. Get it started by hand before we do any extreme tapping. Once again, a little downward force. Hopefully it bites. Okay, so you want to make sure that it goes all the way down, all the way until that clip, and then you know you're good. Once that's done, you can go ahead and back it all the way out. Now once again, you want to make sure you get an air line down there or an air nozzle and blow all of those chips out because you're going to have new chips in there from the tap. You don't want any metal shavings in that cylinder when the piston starts moving because it will gouge things and it will ruin things. So make sure you blow them all out. So you don't have to have a bore scope to do this job, but it definitely helps because when you look down in the cylinder with a bore scope, you can see whether or not there's any more aluminum shavings in there. So, got my bore scope here, and you can see in there that there are no more aluminum shavings. So I'm going to call that good, and we're going to move on to the next step. So for the next step in this process, you want to take some anti-seize and your thread locker, and what we're going to do is we're going to take and put some anti-seize. Already got it on my hands. I'm going to take your anti-seize and get it on your spark plug. You're going to thread your spark plug into your insert. And then you're going to use your thread locker or your thread sealant locker, and you are going to coat the outside of the insert. Once all that's done, you can go ahead and put your spark plug in like you normally would. And tighten her on down. Going to try to guide this in without touching anything. And it also says in the instructions to tighten this down with an air ratchet. That scares the hell out of me. So we're going to just tighten it down pretty good. So we're going to get it in there. We're going to tighten it down pretty good. And voila. And with that, you're done. Now all you got to do is let it sit for 24 hours and let that thread locker cure. You want to make sure it cures really good because that insert now becomes part of the engine. That way, the next time you pull out your spark plug, the spark plug will come out and the insert will stay in there. If you like this video, please give this video a thumbs up. As always, don't forget to subscribe. You can check us out on Instagram at It's Project Venture. Step on the gas and it goes whoop pa 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 pa. Right ta 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 ta. Pa 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 pa.